Welcome back to the WFDF 2018 World Ultimate Club Championships. We're bringing you action from elimination. We have a pre-quarters with USA's Ozone and Swampybarg of Japan. My name is Hannah Pendlebury. I am joined in the booth by the delectable Emmy Fitzgerald. Emmy, how are you feeling this afternoon?
I am excited to watch some pre-quarters ultimate play where we have two teams that have made the upsets when it has counted. Swampybarg just upset Mud in the round before, a rival in Japan that Mud beat Swampybarg, both teams out of Tokyo, and they were against Uno. And Uno has beaten Swampybarg before, but they won 15-12 to come into this game. And then Ozone, of course, upset at the club championships in the US this past fall to earn a bid to Worlds.
Well, Emmy, while you were busy working on the previous game on this field, I had a little bit of a look at that upset, the Uno Swampybarg game. Looks like it was a game of two halves. The first half, crucially, Swampybarg got 2 breaks up over Uno, and then they just held on, trading out to take that one 15-12 in the end. But looking a little bit earlier on in the results, we saw Atlanta's Ozone in the first day of the coverage here at the Lebanon Sports Complex. They were up against CUSP. They took top spot in that Pool D, and then they went into the Power Pool L, which they also topped with 2 further wins, carrying the CUSP win into the Power Pool. They also surmounted Aerosol of Colombia 15-5 and took on WUCC 14-10. So they do have some experience here playing against the Japanese style.
And that is what the coaching staff said they were looking to draw upon as they go into this game. They were looking at the stats to see who the disc mainly goes through from Swampybarg and recognizing how to play with that style of offense and defense. Swampybarg, a fairly new team that started about 4 years ago, coming from Mud and Uno, some players who've had previous experience with those teams. They came together and said, you know, let's start another team with a sight set on international play. So this is their first time at WUCC versus Ozone, which has been a very storied program out of the Atlanta, Georgia, strong ultimate community. They were first formed in 1984, had some incredibly impressive players come out of the Ozone program, and of course they were able to make waves with some of the biggest upsets at Nationals last year.
They took down they took a scalp off of Riot, knocking them out of contention for the championship bracket there, which was huge news in the international scene as well as the domestic ultimate community. But you've got to say, I mean, talking about Ozone's history, 31 straight years of qualifying for the national championships in the US. That's incredible performance. 14 quarterfinals, 9 semis and 2 finals, then 8 World Ultimate Club Championships. So a seasoned squad. A lot of turnover, however, coming into this year. So some new faces, as we see Haley Reese there getting us underway. So Swampybarg of Japan with a horizontal stack. Defenders standing very deep. Interesting to see them not baiting the deep shots a little more. Good match coverage, and there's an early error. The mark of Jinmi Matsunaga, causing Hiroko Koiki to throw it a little bit further away. So Atlanta, opportunity to get their first break in this game. We see Erin Schroeder on the disc putting up the line. Nice, easy layout for India Stubbs. Looking very slick right now. There is pressure from Swampybarg, but nothing that seems to be causing Ozone offense to shake at all. Reese in the middle. Short field opportunity for the first break, and there it is. 1-0 Atlanta Ozone.
Atlanta doesn't turn it over once Swampybarg gets the disc back to them. The huck was just released too low on the Swampybarg side, but such clean undercuts from Ozone. Any break is crucial, especially so early in the game, but still a lot of ultimate yet to be played.
Indeed, we have first point on the board. It is early days, as you point out there, Emmy. But a clean defensive break shows that Ozone are not going to be caught on the back foot. They had a bye this morning. Chatting to the team earlier, they went for brunch. No mimosas, unfortunately, ahead of this very important knockout round game. The biggest breakfast actually goes to the player on the mark when the errant throw came out of Swampybarg. Jimmy Matsunaga had the by far largest portion this morning, so hopefully we'll see that be generating some good play from her. But Ozone, as we know, a team who like to stay hungry and like to eat up everything they're given in terms of this match coverage option. Poaching in the lane from the defenders, trying to close up the spaces and opportunities of Swampybarg. Relatively loose marks. And we'll see a transition into a vertical stack, although it looks more like a cluster in the field. Not really great hand to reset, so release valve is found far side of the right hand end zone. Wee bit of contact, but that was a desperate pass. Just chuck it and hope.
Inoue, the intended receiver, but the disc was kind of going back past her, probably not the look Swampybarg was hoping for.
And then we see a deep shot reeled in by the hands of Caitlin Travaglini, who's going to rip it up way too big past Alex Fairley.
So another opportunity for Swampybarg. Swampybarg needing to generate additional options underneath and continue to stretch it, but maybe a little bit more spacing, having some trouble finding those continuation cuts.
Well, surprisingly for a Japanese style offense, not much hand movement was what caused that turnover, the desperate throw to number 15, Sari Onui. But a bit more flow now as they charge up the pitch on the near side. Good inside shot there. Pass is being thrown almost in a direct line as the hand of Kayla Emmerich gets in the mixer. Swampybarg using just the one vertical channel up the near side of the field, becoming a wee bit too predictable perhaps. Big shot from Ozone. That one's going to be much better placed. And an easy score for the number one, Alex Fairley.
And 2 breaks for Fairley. A lot of passes with 3 turnovers in that point. So started to turn into what could be a really long point, but that up the far sideline, deeper throw, Alex Fairley doing a great job reading that in.
The first shot was just, even before Fairley had made any kind of turn. Perhaps the wind may be catching a little bit of that one. It's not the windiest conditions we've seen on this field, but much better placement and a nice, simple score once more for Ozone's D-line.
So they have started on a bit of a roll, looking to keep it loose. They had about a 1/3 roster turnover from last year to this year, but have tried to keep it light coming in to the game, this tournament. They started off with some spirit days to begin the tournament. They were wearing jeans overalls to warm up.
We caught an excellent video of that actually on our Instagram and Twitter, I think, Emmy. Hashtag Denim Sundays was the order of the day when we caught them on the live stream for the first time. Ball will land out of bounds, I think. Gonna be bricked. So the number 16, Gaori Gorama, is gonna center it. And we'll see a slightly side stack. Again, opening up that directly in front channel, which Swampybarg seem to really enjoy exploiting. Just threading the needle here. Nice attempt by Mai Tanaka. It can't get her hands around it. Almost punches the disc out from in front of her. Another big leading Ozone huck. And a great bid from Emily Lloyd, making that, once again, these bids from Atlanta, Ozone making it look so very smooth and easy. And the score for Josie Veal.
Ozone making the plays, even when it's difficult. That layout from Emily Lloyd. So much great form. And sometimes those layouts aren't made, but in big games, those are the plays that you want to make. For Swampybarg, they're having more difficulty in those, making those plays in really tiny, tight spaces.
Well, that's what Ozone are trying to do. They're trying to close up the small windows that the Swampybarg offense does like to favor even more. Fantastic defense from the US side. Nice shot there of Coach Chris. Speaking to him earlier, Christopher Goodson, one of the assistant coaches actually. David Berendez is the head coach of this side, joined by Christopher Goodson and also Martin Aguilera. But have a few absent players as well. Hopefully they'll be watching us today. Got a little surprise for them later on in this game, but we'll get the play back in as Hayley Reese takes the pole, rips a big backhand to the near front side of the left-hand end zone. So Swampybarg, much needed point hold. Advancing up the far sideline. Hayashi on the disc, struggling to find someone, but Haraguchi is there with the release valve. Disc out into space, run down and milked for all it was worth. Once again, closing out the hand of space. And the hand of Lily Ponitz getting up. That's the second one we've seen. All it takes is just the palm to knock the disc out of contention. Schroeder across to Reese. Not many options. Swampybarg putting in their own stifling defense. And a big backhand. That's going to sit and float, but it's going to be too far for Jinmi Matsunaga to make a play on it, Emmy.
And Matsunaga had her eyes on the disc, but the defender even knew that that wasn't going to stay in bounds. This is a gift for Swampybarg. So far, we've seen teams not be able to come back from a 4-0 deficit. Not saying it's impossible, it's just very difficult. So Swampybarg really looking to convert.
Inside! Inside!
As you say, Emmy, this is a crucial point for the Japanese players here. As we see a deep cut available, and it's going to be taken. That's meant for Yahata, but it's going to be snagged away by a sliding catch from Hayley Reese. Center of the field, Ponitz. She'll take the swing, and another big shot. Reese doesn't seem to have enough in the tank. And that's going to sail to the back line of the end zone. Perhaps a little bit too early of a release there. Getting a bit hasty as this one's turning into a scrappy little point.
The second end zone, Ozone end zone look that has gone out the back. But even if it's not completed, it still forces Swampybarg to use the entire field. And they've gone to providing so much room. You can see on this right side of the screen, that force side area.
Yeah, opening up the near side of the field as they advance directly into the wind. You can see the flags in the back of your shot, and that's going to be tapped into the turf by Ozone. Aaron Schroeder making sure. And now a key red zone opportunity for Atlanta to really start racing away with this game, as we see a race away into that corner. Not going to be in, but on the goal line. And we see Stubbs just trotting into the end zone, and that is a 4-0 lead. Atlanta Ozone looking dominant in this game. We'll be back with more action after this little replay. So Atlanta take the lead, 4-0.
Catch it early. Help us teach kids about cancer symptoms through Ultimate Frisbee clinics. Join us and speak up.
Welcome back to the action here at the Lebanon, Ohio Sports Complex. I'm joined in the booth by Emmy Fitzgerald. And Emmy, Atlanta's Ozone going 4-0 up with 86 minutes on the clock.
Ozone drawing on the experience for playing the fellow Japanese women's team WUCC earlier. You can see they're really taking away those inside lanes on defense to get some blocks. Looks like an injury call on the field. It's Hiroko Koike involved. Kind of looked like an armbar from Palmer. She didn't contest the foul.
It's just one of those unfortunate things. She continues to hold her hand to her face. But you're going to see a lovely placed WUCC. Defenders on the back. Can she pressure it? Yes, she can. Well, as well to not make contact there. Good work for the number 11, Christine Fedorenko. Palmer back to Fedorenko. Going to find Hicks. And Hicks overthrows Mary Perivier.
Hamashima was really close on that, so that forced a more difficult line to catch the disc. Really good defensive play for Swampybarg now on offense.
And we see this very diagonal stack formation. Harashima didn't have many options there. Swampybarg, as we said, coming off a very tight game, perhaps looking a little bit tired. Lots of players jogging around the field. Tanaka moving it across, inside shot, and a spin turn to plant her flag in the end zone. Yuna Iwaka with the goal, and that is first point on the board, much needed for the Japanese team, Swampybarg.
Much more of the rhythm that Swampybarg was hoping, working through those handlers, getting that flow going, using the full width of the field, loving the big fake and then inside look to Iwaoka to get that goal.
And as you see there, a small ankle brace on her right leg. Very good body composure to be able to do that twist turn and not cause any further injury, perhaps carrying, and maybe that is why she's wearing that ankle brace, Emmy, with acrobatic moves such as those.
Iwaoka, a great handler in this Swampybarg offense. And there are 4 Japanese women's teams that are here at WUCC. Uno, who they just beat, Mud, Huck, and then Swampybarg.
We'll get a nice little shot at some stuffed toys on the far side, but Ozone back in the action. As we'll see a zone look from the Japanese defense. Aim presumably to try and slow down the pace of Atlanta's Ozone. It's been very relentless, the movement they've had through. It seems to have stifled things nicely. So we see Wooten put it over the top to Boyd. Nearly able to make a bid, but just great positioning from Boyd. Holds her ground, takes the catch. Shot into the middle. Swampybarg players seem to be a little bit behind where the play was. Sticking with the formation for the meantime. And sweeping up, Wooten. She's going to put it out to the back edge of that left-hand end zone. Carver reeling it in. And that's some very calm, textbook offense from Atlanta's Ozone.
So the Swampybarg captains were saying they put in that zone to really try and prevent the big Huck looks, but that forces Ozone to use a lot of passes underneath. They were able to take advantage and executed so well. And then Carver also, the coordination and reflexes that are required to catch the disc and then also keep a foot in bounds.
Bit of the old fancy footwork from the 26-year-old.
She played with Bucket in 2013, a mixed team out of Atlanta. And then in 2014, switched over to the women's side, playing from 2014 until now.
And of course, as I'm sure many of these women will say from Ozone, highlight of the career so far, beating Wright at Nationals. So, Ozone 5, Swampybarg 1. Still such a hill to climb, a mountain even, in this elimination game. Pre-quarter, deciding, of course, who will advance to the top 8 bracket and who shall be playing for 9th at this World Club Championships, as we see a reaching grab leading to a ambitious throw, trying to find the hands of Mai Tanaka in the end zone.
Tanaka made a bid for it, but that was just moving a little bit too quickly towards the ground.
And so Ozone, another opportunity for a break as we see a big Huck go up again. Double coverage, just putting enough pressure on the back of Sam Doherty.
Good team defense from Inoue and Kodama. Really that team defense critical, as sometimes the height mismatches can be challenging.
It certainly can. And Ozone have been using their stature to put up a lot of Hucks in this game, as we see once again Swampybarg overthrowing, desperately needing to get another point on the board to try and stop this one from slipping away. Seeing a horizontal stack, a tumble from an Ozone player, and a great grab under pressure from the number 52 of Erin Schroeder. Timeout immediately called from Schroeder. So first timeout of the game called, interestingly, Emmy, by Ozone, not Swampybarg. Why do you think Erin Schroeder's chosen that?
Ozone probably wanting to set up a play that involves a Huck look, seeing that Swampybarg is currently set up in a match defensive formation. They've had some success in that, especially looking towards the end zone. That would be my guess if I were the Ozone coaching staff.
So we'll get another look at what the Ozone's going to do, but first we'll have a little break. Come back to you after this.
If you want to be a high performer, eat like one. Start with a balanced diet and drink plenty of water. Good nutrition is one of the best ways to boost your mental and your physical health.
Welcome back to the World Ultimate Club Championships. We are here bringing you live play from the women's division. Ozone of the USA versus Swampybarg of Japan, coming off the back of a timeout as we see Ozone with what we hope was a set play, Amy, but it seems that the defense are making them choose option B. Reese near sideline considers the two players upfield, an inside shot. Gaining yards, but needing to find the resets from the handlers. Taking advantage of the height discrepancies. Very close opportunity. Player free, but some good help defense from the front of the stack. Peeling off as we see Reese in the center of the field. She'll move across to Matsunaga. Back into Reese. Following the throw very well. Knocking on the door. Popping it in. Is there going to be a travel call? This will come back.
Travel call. Just coming back to
Once more using that height mismatch on a 26, Kate Woodhurst. Isolation in the end zone, but decides to take the safe reset. Fiery fake opens up the inside channel from Haley Reese into number 9, Aranya Palmer. And that is 6-1. Another break of score for USA. And Swampybarg, I mean, needs to do something here to stem the bleeding.
Swampybarg did a good job with their defensive positioning to start the point. You could tell it was a pretty standard horizontal stack initiation play, but it's still very difficult as then you're reaching the end zone. And Ozone is converting, and they're making those passes when they need to do it. They're hyped, they're ready to go. They didn't have to play around right before this. So right now, it's really Ozone's game to lose. Swampybarg, though, you can tell that they have a lot of the right pieces, but just a little bit of missed execution, sometimes a drop where normally it would be caught.
And I think you're right there, Emmy. Swampybarg do not seem to have come into this game firing on all cylinders. It's such a difficult thing to come in, though, when you do put yourself in the position. Had a difficult pull, lost to Iceni and Fury with the wins against Malafama and Seagulls. It's difficult having to have ground out the game in the second half, just trading, hoping to keep hold of those breaks they took early. But do you see a little bit more fire now from the Japanese women? Lovely piece of footwork as the disc will go out to space, but it'll be chomped up by the defense with the positioning of the number 4, Marissa Hicks.
They were starting to show more of their offense, but couldn't convert.
Yeah, commentators cursed there, Emmy. I'd been saying they looked a little bit flat and tired, and they suddenly came out with some real fire. Shame that the disc went to ground. And we'll see Stubbs putting up a very big put, but it's going to sit into the hands of Alex Fairley.
Alex Fairley with her second goal so far of this game. And in similar fashion, she finds that separation. Ozone doing a great job of pulling the defenders downfield. And they have just come out on fire in this game, converting their break opportunities. 6 out of 7, which the one would be the one that Swampybarg has scored.
And half of those, Emmy, being perfect conversions as well, which is what you want to see on defense. Just get in the block and immediately gun in and go in and get a score. It's interesting to see as we see Stubbs in the in your shot here. One of the things we did see Cusp in the first round of live stream play. Taking away was Stubbs. They did a zone look which had a person match directly on Stubbs to try and take her out the game, and eliminating the bigger players such as Lloyd's, Stubbs. Wotton's a huge force, really tall handler, very, very capable. That was really useful for Cusp, whereas Swampybarg, I like the fact that they're playing more, you know, honest match. We've seen a tiny, tiny sprinkling of zone when they have had the opportunity to be on defense. But I don't know, what do you think they need to change for Swampybarg?
Swampybarg, I think they could start some of their cuts a little bit earlier and then bail out on the cuts that aren't working sooner. What we've seen from successful Japanese offenses are about 3 different cutting options in the course of the 10 seconds. So sometimes that does mean that you're throwing at a stall 8, a stall 9, which can be tricky, but that means that each of those cuts, they try for maybe about 2.5 seconds and then they get out. And that helps cause that confusion from the defense because you're using so much more agility underneath and they don't know exactly what to take away. Swampybarg having a little bit more difficulty with that so far, and Ozone also doing a good job taking away that inside that they like so much.
And I think that was one of the crucial things, Emmy, taking away that inside almost directly in front channel early stages, making them think twice before they throw them. So we'll see. Swampybarg once again on the attack, needing to generate some momentum in this game. As Atlanta but 1 point away from taking half in dominating fashion. Ozone with a zone. Swampybarg penetrating through, finding that inside flick. Tanaka wanting for options. He's got one in the middle, directly in front. And that is a nice piece of work. Yuri Hamashima reeling in the score, keeping this half alive for Swampybarg.
And I think the zone look actually benefited Swampybarg because they have more open lanes to throw to. But even when it transitioned to the match, like you see here, we had a cut from Kodama that went back, and then for the strike, that got the defender on her heels just long enough for that throw to go off, and that is what helps get Swampybarg back into their offensive structure. But also want to point out the roster size. Swampybarg has probably at least 1/3 of the players less as well. And a week-long tournament, fatigue could definitely be a factor. We're almost about halfway through.
And I just did a quick little head count there, Remy. They have 16 players at this tournament, so just over 2 lines. Week-long events can be very, very grueling. Any injuries are going to be so costly to Swampybarg. And there's also the issue of the presence of the sideline, getting that 8th man D.
Sails out of bounds on the pole. Angela Lynn over to pick up for Ozone.
Although I have to say, complimenting Swampybarg, their footwork has been textbook. There have been some really nice channels, but hopefully we'll get to see those a little bit later, perhaps in a highlight package, as Ozone now with a horizontal stack will once again look to take out this half. We'll see if Swampybarg's D-line have anything to say about that. See a streaking in a cut from Erin Schroeder. Vicious flick. Ozone happy to just take the swings. Changing that angle of attack, finding Emmerich in the middle. Kayla Emmerich. Matsunaga go on the goal line. You see once again the handler cuts up and goes to ground to take half. That is a goal for the number 26, Kate Woodhurst. Once again, using that handler upline cut to put 1 more point on the board.
Woodhurst, a 5'10" handler, so she has lots of length, able to make the bid when it's really low to take Ozone to half.
And there is the score. Atlanta Ozone 8, Swampybarg 2.
There is a place where we are us at our best.
A place where everyone is welcome,
regardless of age, shape, skin color, or anything else that tries to box people in.
A place where we defy the odds.
And even defy gravity.
a place that knows grit, knows grace, knows bright lights, and knows empty bleachers.
A place where we remember to laugh.
Where we learn to trust, and eventually, even learn to fly.
A place where character, community, and competition
are all as balanced as a disc in flight.
That place isn't in a stadium or on a field.
That place is in the spirit of our players.
Because we don't just play Ultimate, we live Ultimate.
Welcome back to halftime here as we see Ozone of the USA considering their stats board. They are 8-2 in the lead over Swampybarg of Japan. Swampybarg, of course, having just come off a grueling crossover game against their fellow Japanese women of Uno. They won that one 15-12. We have some absent players on the Ozone roster who are represented, Emmy, on the far sideline, as we see in the shot now, by a number of little stuffed toys. We're missing 4 players in total: Mira Walker, Kate Wilson, Sophie Darch, Paula Seville. Seville, in fact, the broccoli, the fetching little piece of broccoli you see on the right-hand side there. So if they are joining us on the stream, hello to those players who are sorely, sorely missed.
It's just like you're here. We said it's kind of like a happy voodoo doll, where they're bringing good things instead of, you know, maybe other types of voodoo dolls. But they had all these spirit days. We talked about Denim Sunday, Party Monday. They wore some fun shirts on Monday. And I asked, well, what's the theme today? And the coaching staff said, well, the theme's to win. And so far, it seems to be working. But what's great is that in sports, you really need to have that balance of being loose, not to overthink, but then also really take it seriously and have that intensity when it matters. They're really dialing in their conversions on the breaks so far, and they have a 6-goal lead.
And as we now see Swampybarg, who are having a much less fun time right now in this game, trailing, as you say, Emmy, 6 points, but Ozone with a party atmosphere, doing some handstands. Schroeder got so much energy, she can do some acrobatics for us on the field. But it would be nice to see, hopefully, if we can get a bit more fire from the rather deflated roster of Swampybarg. We'll take a short break now, but we'll come back to you with the action live here with the second half of this pre-quarter match. Welcome back to the action here, half-time in the pre-quarters. We have Ozone of USA looking very dominant, having a party circle. Our statistician in the booth, Kate Yeski, is bouncing along to their tunes. We are feeling good and getting pumped off the players in Red's energy. Hopefully, though, that can drift across, Emmy, to the other side where we see Swampybarg looking a teeny bit deflated.
And Ozone really working to have great spirit. They said everyone can always improve their spirit scores, but knowing that they come in with a bit more physical level of play, trying to control that, but then that bleeds over into other areas of spirit. We've seen good discussions on the fields. There have been some calls back and forth, but Ozone knowing that there could be some language barriers, they wanted to be really cognizant to make sure their nonverbal communication also communicates that proper spirit. But the Atlanta program just so storied. Of course, Padilla High School out of Atlanta, a lot of players in this tournament from all across the divisions coming from Padilla, but this is kind of ground zero with this Ozone squad.
Well, certainly very dominant. As we take a look at some of the stats in this game, 3 out of 6 perfect conversions for Ozone. 1 out of 8 on offense for Swampybarg. It's been a game so one-sided thus far, but it's not like Swampybarg haven't been putting together some beautiful offense when it has been I really enjoyed watching their direct in front vertical channels on the field. Such an unusual style of play, so lesser seen, especially amongst the European and USA scenes that have so much coverage. I find it a delight, but I'd like to see them try and use that again. Ozone shut it down quite effectively initially, but
that vertical stack with only one handler back has become a more commonly seen look from the Japanese teams. The benefit of that is you have cuts off of the front of the stack, so if you have 2 handlers back, potentially that defender of the off handler can sag in the lane. Well, that defender is gone when you have all 6 players in the stack.
Indeed, using tactics to open up lesser used channels. As we see Wooten in the center of the field, and a zone look from the Japanese team. She'll take an immediate shot, and the stature, plain and simple, of Caitlin Travaglini surmounts the number 8, Hiroko Koiki.
Travaglini coming from previously Phoenix in 2016. Storied player from University of Florida and Tabby Rosa, a women's team out of Florida. And Swampybarg clogging the lanes to try and prevent the huck, but that's still able to go up. Really nice one-handed athletic grab from the 28-year-old receiver.
And that's the thing about this Ozone side. I mean, they just have such faith in each other's abilities on the field to best their defenders. And it's paying off. 60 minutes to go. 7-point difference now. Swampybarg staring up a cliff face at the heels of Ozone. As we see Haley Reese preparing to take another pull.
Haley Reese on the pull for Ozone.
And I'm sure Swampybarg, even for their own personal satisfaction, would like to get some more offensive holds in this game.
Kurama, center of the field, finds Ikeda. Back in the middle. A count from the sideline indicating perhaps a transition. It's going to come soon. Tanaka. Back again to Ikeda. Center in the middle, taken away by the long limbs of Sam Doherty. Great attack from the defender. Interesting to see her now on the D-line, so lethal in their game against Cusp as a surefire receiver. We'll see a foul call.
And a foul called on the offense, not contested.
Back in the action. See. Oh, stifling handler mark. Excellent job of shutting down Schroeder from the number 16. So that was much better defense from Swampybarg there, making Ozone really have to take late stall options to relieve the pressure. Swing into the open space, and there comes the error from that better defense. Ikeda putting on the pressure, spooking the mark into the drop.
You saw some really tight handler defense from Swampybarg that helped force that turnover. Now they have another shot on offense.
And an instant shot from the hand of Kodama, and that is her second assist in this game. And a great celebration, well deserved. Every point on the board to try and fire up this Swampybarg offense.
Inoue, the intended receiver, a couple times so far hadn't quite worked out, but this time, really, really nice put. Gives Inoue plenty of time to run onto the space, the 26-year-old, and really need to credit Hamashima for getting the D. And Saori Inoue, so elated. That is the type of look that Swampybarg has been hoping to have since the beginning. They have a big deficit, but even just for the spirits of the team, that scores like that then help propel the defense to be better regardless of the uphill battle.
And an uphill battle we have indeed, as we'll see the number 3, Masami Yoshida of Tokyo Metropolitan University with the pull. D-line with a job to do to slow down the offense of Ozone. And there's a run-through block. Well, we said they need to do something, and Takehara puts the team on her shoulders, taking that run-through from Paige Carver, caught sleeping in the center of the field.
Veteran play from Takehara.
Okuyama on the disc. Vertical stack puts it down into space. That'll be scooped up. Having been caught sleeping before, Paige Carver makes no mistake there.
That huck into double coverage, not the best look, but when you see that double coverage, that usually means someone else is open on another part of the field. Use the fake to find the open space.
Indeed, not perhaps the most effective of looks or conservative, but good to see confidence from Swampybarg. In any case, as we see Atlanta put up yet one more big huck. Far too far, even for the rapid legs of Emily Lloyd. So 2 shots overthrown in a row. Ozone happy to sit on that 6-point cushion at the moment.
Swampybarg really needing to take advantage of the opportunities and do what works best. Have those quick handler cuts and then look for deep looks where there's separation, where you can throw past the defender and run onto it.
So some good help defense from a poach in the lane of Atlanta. Players available deep, but an inside shot into the hands of Yoshida. Gonna need a handler reset, something on the inside, and there goes up a big huck. Separation, but that yardage will be churned up, gobbled by the legs of Emily Lloyd.
Emily Lloyd, the great read.
Carver near sideline. Not great movement upfield, and disc is tipped away by the fingers of the number 1, Ayumi Mitsuyama.
And Swampybarg staying aggressive on defense to get the turns. can tell the fatigue setting in. They need to have more cuts happening in a quicker time frame.
And Okayama puts it up immediately, far side of the field to Mio Takahara. Real opportunity as we see a player go to ground, center of the field. Foul's going to be called by the number 1, Ayumi Mitsuyama. So golden opportunity at this stage. Big bladey disc's going to go up, and that'll be received by the tall stature of Wooden. He's now going to see up the line. Easy lefty grab. Head and shoulders over the match on her, Mitsuyama. Veal in the center of the field. Finds Wooden. He's going to put up a big one that's going to sit and hang. Well received by Lloyd. Centers to Stubbs. A big power line on the field right now. Veal. Pops in. Wooden far sideline to Stubbs. And we'll see knocking on the door. And that's a score, 10-3. Ozone is now taking a dominant lead of 7 points. We'll be back with more of the action here in this pre-quarter final after a short break.
Do you want to avoid overuse injuries? Cross-train. Get your exercise routine out of a routine and mix it up with a variety of activities. Your muscles, tendons, and joints will thank you later.
Welcome back to the action here in this women's pre-quarter. Ozone of the USA versus Swampybarg of Japan. And Emmy, we've seen a little bit more confidence from Swampybarg in that last point. Just shy of the end zone though. Risky shot went up.
Swampybarg using the high release as a bailout when in the air they do not have the advantage.
Yes, Ozone, one of the tallest teams at the tournament. Do not throw it and sit it in the wind. They will rinse you for that decision as we see an overthrow for Yuri Hamashima. Hamashima having represented Japan at the Under-23 Championships back in 2015. Doesn't feel like it should be 3 years ago, but it certainly was as we see a big ripper of a backhand sail past the left shoulder of Alex Fairley.
Alex Fairley is a really fast receiver, but even that is too much, the way that the speed that the disc was traveling for her to get to it. But so a look like that is smart because a team that is already fatigued with low numbers now has further to travel down the field as Kodama goes to pick up.
Inside shot, far sideline. Rapid offense from the players of Swampybarg. But as you said, Emmy, you called it. Having to advance the full length of the field results in an overthrow. The number 13, Yuna Iwaoka, unable to run that one down, feeling a little bit fatigue in the legs perhaps. So Atlanta, yet another opportunity. 7 points clear. Big backhand, that's gonna sit much better into the hands of Fairley. No errors this time, and a cheeky little score. Travel will bring that one back. Fairley really having to reach round the mark there. I'm surprised to see the call from Inui.
Seeing the 2-on-1, I think Fairley was very excited, understandably so, to take advantage of it.
And a quick switch on the mark. Allow Swampybarg to throw a risky shot up. But again, using the stature, the number 15, Travaglini, easy score.
Travaglini, her second goal of the game, catching this goal in a similar fashion to the previous one, going up really strong, one-handed. The physical therapist from Gainesville, Florida. She coaches the University of Florida women's team Fuel with her husband. The state of Florida also having a long history of success in ultimate.
Well, if her students are watching, welcome to this stream. You can shout us out if you're on board this afternoon at WFDF Live on Twitter and Instagram. As we see Hayley Reese there, the begloved right hand, matching in colour to her jersey, ready to put another one up. Ozone now a full 8 points clear in this game. It's been a shame for Swampybarg to see them overthrowing Iwauka in that last point, who actually played for Heist last season, Emmy. So no stranger to the US style herself, but Swampybarg now got a separation deep. Can she gobble up the yards? Yes, the reaching arm of the number 26, Kate Woodhurst, shuts down the deep cut of Ikeda. Violation is called.
Looks like we have a pick called.
Or a pick, sorry. Reese's slightly high pixel signal. The pick call in the USAU signals different to the WFDF ones. FDF obviously clenched fists and sort of like a gun show effect, if you will.
The muscle pose.
Indeed.
Versus the hands on the hips power move in USAU rules.
So Reese puts it into Lynn in the middle. Across to Schroeder, far side. Have a disc in my house, I believe, Emmy, that has Erin Schroeder's name on it. Supporting Erin Schroeder at the under-24s. So Lynn near sideline, puts up to a charging number 8. She'll pull that in. That is Sam Doherty getting another stat in this tournament. So decorated in the cusp game. And that's a lovely textbook layout to polish off the 12th point for Ozone. They are so far ahead now. And look how far ahead Doherty was, reeling that score in.
Sam Doherty getting that really wonderful closing speed and using the explosion from her jump into the layout to help propel her to get that catch. The confidence that this win brings to Ozone is critically important, as Molly Brown is on this side of the bracket. And if they can keep winning, they could potentially face Riot in a rematch of last year's meeting at the USA Nationals, where Ozone played another really well game. And you can see a lot of these pieces, when they work together, are incredibly effective, as the team from Atlanta has been so dominant in this game.
Indeed they have, Emmy. This side of the bracket, very North American heavy. As you already mentioned, Seattle Riot, Traffic, Sixers of Canada, Ozone, Swampybarg on this field, Molly Brown, Iris, and Atletico of Finland.
Although Iris is currently ahead on Molly Brown 10-6. Either way, it's a difficult opponent.
It certainly is, Emmy. As we'll see, great separation into the hand of Saori Inui. Delightful to see a little bit more energy from this Swampybarg offense now, and a good hold of score.
Inoue, the receiver, again, with a beautifully put throw from Iwaoka. And Iwaoka was on Heist last summer. It covered a couple Heist games at the US Open. Heist faced some Japanese teams at the US Open, and they said it was clearly very valuable to have Iwaoka on the team to help share a little bit of how the Japanese play, to help in Heist in their strategy. But then also it came in handy as there were sometimes call discussions on the field to have someone who spoke English and Japanese on both teams.
Always useful to have a translator on side. Emmy, I believe you acted as a translator for the fans at home during a mic'd up discussion on the Ultiworld stream, so not the only ones with the language talents on the field, but also in the booth in the form of our lovely co-commentator this afternoon. So Atlanta Ozone once more on the attack as we see Stubbs. Hawkins have a look at her options upfield. Good swinging. Patience from Ozone. There are attempts at run through these, but Swampybarg seem to have found a bit more fire. I like the energy in their defense right now. But calm, composed offense from Ozone as we see go to ground. Travaglini gonna pop it up high, and a swooping 71. Anrishima will take that one in.
Koike was so close, but a really, really great look.
And so Atlanta Ozone 13, Swampybarg of Japan, only 4 points on the board. And we'll take a short break with a feature of one of the teams here at this tournament, Malafama of Mexico. We'll be back after this.
Malafama, it means infamous. Bad fame. Bad fame. Mala, bad, fama, fame. Bad fame.
Well, my name is Daniela, and I'm from Malafama of Mexico City.
My name is Dre, and I live in Texas, but I'm playing with Malafama.
We're giving handcrafts from Mexico. We're giving a skull, a handmade skull, and little animals that are alebrijes. There are little things that help you
cross over to death.
Yeah.
Right, so they don't linger in limbo.
Exactly.
Like the movie Coco?
Yeah, exactly. That's a Mexican thing. And
candy,
yeah.
Spicy candy and sweet candy.
So Atlanta Ozone 13, Swampybarg of Japan for pre-quarters matchup here in the women's division at the WFDF 2018 World Club Championships, as we see a polished piece of footwork from Mai Tanaka. Great to see. Shame about the scoreline, but great offensive energy from Swampybarg as they put it far side with an arcing flick and a little toss into the hands of Rina Ikeda.
And Ozone still playing tight lines late in the game despite the lead. And even with that, you can see the swagger of Swampybarg back a little bit more. Really nicely placed longer throw to Hiroko Koike. This is more of what Swampybarg was really hoping to do right from the beginning. It's great to see them get their stride during this game. Just had hoped it would have been a bit earlier.
Yeah, it's very much a case of too little too late with a 8-point deficit now. They need to do much, much more early on the game, allowing Ozone to go up 4 breaks to a 4-0 lead right off the bat. 1 response, 3 more points then from Ozone. Since then, we've seen a little bit more even plays, had some trading in and out of the half. But Ozone's, again, 2 breaks in a row for 3 scores in a row, second half. Story of this game nice to see Swampybarg coming out and showing us a bit more what they can achieve latter stages, but just Ozone far too far out of reach at this point as we see Stubbs, center of the field, pop to Boyd. Wooten's gonna rip it to the far side. Excellently placed disc, reeled in by the hands of Emily Lloyd. And as you say, Emmy, still seeing the star players of Ozone in this pre-quarter.
Ozone recognizing that they had a lot of turnover coming in from last year to this year, and this is also fairly early in the USA Ultimate Club season. Typically teams are trying to peak in October or really at the end of September around regionals and then truly peak at nationals in October. Well, tryouts are held in April, May, rosters set end of May, June, and we're sitting here in the middle of July. So I think it's good credit to the Ozone coaching staff to get more reps with the top players in this Ozone team because they're doing really well. They could potentially have a long line into the rest of the tournament together.
And they're focusing, as you say there, Emmy, on the later stages of this game and this tournament as a whole, as we see the warm-up happening of Fury, who will face Mud in the following game. So stay tuned for that action as we see a little bit of dancing. I think they might have spotted themselves on the Jumbotrons here at the fields as we see the dance moves, some bottom shaking as they stretch out and prepare. But we'll stick with the action here as Atlanta's Ozone D-line are going to have their first opportunity to close out this game, but they're going to have to shut down Swampybarg once more if they can achieve it. Nice swinging towards the near side from the Japanese players. Ikeda. Nice. Just Hashima. Moving to the far side. Inside to Hashima. On a bobbled catch with a hand in the mixer from Atlanta's number 5, Lily Ponitz. So the first chance to finish it finds Hicks near side. Pick. With an unsurprised to see that call. They are very free. Caitlin Travaglini, favoured target in this game. She's had plenty of points on the board. 2 scores and 1 assist. Put on screen now. Hicks matched by Ikawa. Has a little bit of lack of focus there. Managed to catch it, but then just a plain old drop as she landed. And Swampybarg will get the disc back and take the opportunity to keep this game alive for 1 more point. Kodama on the disc. Little hip fake, bobbled catch. Ioka has a look at it, see if she can redeem it and be the hero, but already settled into the turf. Pressure on the defense, deep shot going up once more. We see the storm of Alex Ferry to the right-hand side, and it is a goal game. Ozone with a scoreline of 15-5. Emmy, that is a heck of a dominant performance from the US side.
The University of Georgia student, only in her 3rd year of Ultimate, but she turns on the jets when she needs to and has 3 goals on the game for Ozone to take this convincing win in bracket play.
10 points clear. Emmy says it all as we see delight on both sides. Swampybarg, I think, no, they didn't have enough in the tank coming into this game after their hard-fought crossover win, surmounting Uno 5-12 with those valuable breaks at the start. It just too gassed, 16 players on the roster, but you have to hand it to them. They did so well against this Ozone side as we see them now celebrating with some elbow bumps. Such joy on the Ozone side really appreciate the way they've handled this game. They've enjoyed themselves, they've had smiles on their faces. It must have been a pleasure, even though Swampybarg are looking a little gassed. Such an enjoyable game to watch, and I'd imagine an enjoyable game to be playing.
And Ozone keeping loose, it's easy to stay happy when you win a game by 10 points, but use those as feathers in your cap and use that as fuel when the rest of the season or rest of this tournament too, when you are facing adversity. It's important to come back and center to the successful moments.
So we'll see a brief recap of the action we've just enjoyed. Ozone, a dominant performance, 15-5 over Swampybarg of Japan. Emily Lloyd, really pivotal for Atlanta in this game. Such veteran plays, Emmy.
Ozone converting when they needed to convert early and then often to get that nice cushion of a lead, as well as so much separation in the deep game.
So as we close out the reel of highlights, there have been many from this game. You can stay with us on the stream for Fury versus Mud. It's been a pleasure. I've been Hannah Penderbury
with Emmy Fitzgerald.
Stay tuned for more.
Catch it early. Help us teach kids about cancer symptoms through Ultimate Frisbee clinics. Join us and speak up.